Howdy doodly, everybody. This is Simon. Simon Says, well, this was me doing podcasts back in the day with Simon Says Sports, but now I'm going to do like a little bit of my nerdy side. I'm going to say it's Simon Says Star Wars. Just want to talk about, obviously, that episode 9 trailer just dropped down. Let's go through that. Look, if you hear some background noise because I'm driving, but I wanted to get my thoughts down before I don't have any more time to be able to do so. But like, all right, so let's talk about this episode 9 trailer, shall we? All right, so you got Rey. Whether it's Jakku or it's Tatooine, we don't know. We can only assume that she could be actually back on Jakku, which would make sense because a lot of it has revolved around the fact that, Palpatine had an observatory on Jakku. It was one of the places where the Rebellion and the Empire had a last showdown kind of leading into the Aftermath and, I guess parts told in the Aftermath novels themselves. And she's running across the sand. God knows why it's always a sand planet, but, it has to be right now. Who knows why? She's running. Clearly, she's a lot more capable in the Force. Anakin's lightsaber has been repaired. Well, Luke's lightsaber has been repaired. She's got that out. Also, she's got a blaster on her hip. Blasters are so uncivilized. So who knows? They don't really care about having that old chestnut in there anymore about, Obi-Wan's original statement. She's running, and then you can only assume that the new TIE Interceptor to that is like Kylo Ren. That's either A, hunting her down, or B, hey, it could even be like a misconception or misguided, kind of like you think it's Kylo Ren tracking her down, but it's actually maybe a training exercise. But personally, I think it's actually Kylo Ren tracking her down, and she does this crazy flip onto like what we assume is going to be onto the TIE Interceptor. And then it kind of, cuts to a couple of other shots. Some new planet we can't really see with the shuttle going in. Some people are already saying, hey, it could mirror image Rey looking at her parents that were dropping her off, or maybe we get to see the parents again or something. But personally, I don't think it is. I think it's probably just like Poe, Finn, or the like going to some planet for some reason. You can see a really cool shot of Chewie and Lando, which is awesome. Good to hear Lando's laugh. Good to see him on screen again. But that's kind of a bit of fan service, let's be honest, right there. One of the intriguing parts, I think, for me in that whole entire teaser trailer was the part where you see Kylo Ren re-melding his helmet back together, but he is using parts of a kyber crystal to be able to do so. So he's going to have these red kind of trails throughout his helmet, which is going to look really, really cool. It's interesting to see where they go with that, because he's saying, let the past die in episode 8, and then next minute it's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to put it back together, and I'm going to still, honor my grandfather, Darth Vader. I'm going to put this back together because this is who I am. And then you got Luke. You got Mark Hamill voicing over, the past is, what is it? People never stay gone. So, that quote, I think's important in the whole context of where episode 9 could be going, because then the only way, you got no Snoke, right? So if Palpy is back in some shape or form, especially because his laugh hinted at that at the end. I mean, in how much screen time is he going to have? Is he going to be physical or is he not? Like, if you're talking about the EU or the Legends, I think you got to look at, he did clone himself in some Legends and EU material into multiple versions of himself. Are they going to go that route, or are they going to go the route of where he was able to resurrect himself? Now, if they were able to resurrect himself, and let's just say he maybe had a version of himself which was Snoke, and Snoke, obviously died. It was a fragile cloned copy of himself being Palpatine. That was Snoke, and he's gone. Then that whole thing could have been a whole, I guess you could say, like, it's not going to be retconned in a way that JJ is probably going to go down that road, but it's probably like, it was if you're talking about subverting expectations, I guess that was subverting expectations, and somehow JJ saying, well, look, I didn't really want Snoke to die, I actually wanted Snoke to be this person, or I wanted to be Plagueis, but if he's going to be gone, and we've got to do fan service and tie together the prequels, original trilogy, and the sequel trilogy, why not bring back Palpatine? So if Snoke is some sort of version of a clone to Palpatine, okay, yeah, it makes sense, but if you don't storytell this in 9 the right way, you are really going to piss off a lot of fans. Another problem with bringing back Palpatine, well, I love it because I love Palpatine, he's one of my favourite characters. You bring him back, right, and you got Rey and her merry band of thieves all together chasing down Palpatine. They go to that planet at the end, and obviously you can see the husk, I guess, of the Death Star, and maybe Palpatine's been hanging out there for a while. Alright, so let's just say that happens, and then you got Rey, I don't know, Rey defeats Palpatine. Does that retcon the original trilogy and completely dampen the impact of Darth Vader sacrificing himself for Luke and discarding Palpy down a mineshaft? Throwing him down. Does that completely, discard the weight of that emotional part? Because I'm hoping that's not the case. If that is the case and Rey ends up fighting against this cloned version of Palpatine, or recreated, he found a way to recreate life, extend his life, Palpatine based off Plagueis' stories. If that part is being told from the prequels to the sequels, then okay, I can be on board, but I cannot be on board with the part where Rey could defeat Palpatine once and for all, because that would completely undo all the work and the entire storyline of the original trilogy. So I'm really hoping that's not where they're going, because that would be really shitty. So the Rise of Skywalker, that title. Okay, so I heard a theory that people are like, yeah, because, the Jedi Order are done, this is like a new order, it's the order of, people are like, oh, it's the Order of Skywalker now. I'm like, I'm sorry, but if you are going to rename the Jedi the Order, like Skywalker, or Order of Skywalker, or some damned thing, and discard the word Jedi, because they're done, they're extinct now, right? Because there's no Sith either, because Kylo Ren's not a Sith, he's just a Force user, because they don't want to use original titles that George Lucas created to put a label on a Force user anymore. Fuck knows why. If that's the case, then I'm not down with that. I don't think this is a good title. I mean, this title is clearly fan service, because this is the last movie in the Skywalker saga, so I understand why they've done Rise of Skywalker in that vein of thought, but I just think it's a terrible title. It's up there with Attack of the Clones, and I love the prequels, don't get me wrong, but Attack of the Clones was just a terrible goddamn title, and I think most people would agree with that assessment. But Kylo, right, if it's Rise of Skywalker, you can hint to two things. One, Rey the whole time has either A, got Skywalker blood in her because she's offspring of either Leia or Luke, one of those two, or B, she's a clone of the Chosen One that people have been talking about online, which I don't like that, because I think the true Chosen One was always Anakin. I don't like that story. I don't like that story that Rey could be another Chosen One. I don't like the fact that she could be a clone of Luke because someone found his fucking hand down the bloody Bespin exhaust shaft and fucking cloned him into a her. Like Jurassic Park styles. Hey, let's grab frog DNA and put together, splice it, and then you've got a dinosaur. And except in this case, you've got a female version of a Luke Skywalker. No, don't like it. No. So, and last but not least, it's just it's just fan service. I think that's all it is. I don't know if they could come up with a better title. Maybe an EU title they could have had was Legacy of the Force. I'm sorry, more of a Legends title, because Legacy of the Force that would make sense, because it is a legacy of the Force. Rey is the legacy, Kylo Ren is the legacy. But in the end of the day, if they're going to go with the title The Rise of the Skywalker, I think it pretty much goes down the vein of thinking, well, I don't want to say it, but I think Kylo Ren is going to get redeemed, because he's the last true Skywalker that we know of, because Episode 8 did a really shit job of explaining who the hell Rey is, and leaving us hanging till the final installment to actually have JJ actually tell us who she is. Whatever, side point. And I think Kylo Ren gets redeemed and he becomes Ben Solo again, and hence the Skywalker legacy is complete. So, I mean, I can see that happening. I can see them redeeming Kylo Ren. I can see him maybe coming to her aid at her time of need. And I don't know whether it's defeating... Look, here's the problem. Who is the ultimate bad guy? Who is your antagonist and your protagonist in this film, right? So Snoke's not there. If he was a clone of Palpatine and you bring back Palpatine in some sort of form, right? So he's the main bad guy, right? Because Kylo is going to end up going good. Or does Kylo die? But I can't see them ending a Skywalker saga without a Skywalker. So you have to redeem Kylo by saving Rey, and in him doing so, he throws away his mantle as Kylo Ren and becomes Ben Solo. Look, there's so many different things we could go down. I would just love to know your guys' takes on this. I just think there's a lot of different grey areas that JJ is going to have to really fix up in this storyline because of episode 8. Hell, if you said to me, this is episode 9, but it's really episode 8, and JJ is just continuing on from episode 7, I would believe that, because it already feels and sounds and looks like that trailer fits directly in after episode 7. So it could be episode 8 instead of being episode 9. Look, all I know is they've got about 2.5 hours to stop all these plot holes, inconsistent storylines, poor character development, and make this entire ending to the Skywalker saga truly make sense and in a satisfactory way that both hardcore fans and normal fans alike are going to find it, well, in JJ's words, satisfactory ending to, or a satisfactory conclusion to the Skywalker saga. So, look, I would love to know what you guys think. Hit me up on Twitter at Kirky McJerky. That's right, the Kirky McJerky. And let me know what you think about what I just said and your thoughts on the trailer and where this all might be heading. Laters. May the Force be with you.